China has achieved something legendary for all lovers of the best audio. It's called iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra. And not only does it look incredible and is getting rave reviews internationally, but on a technical level, it has managed to achieve something that seemed impossible. To combine the best of audio's two most sought-after worlds, that is a warm and colored sound thanks to R2R technology. By the way, I talked about this technology some time ago on this channel, and also, which is where the Ultra comes from, iBasso has implemented an adjustment to also get the best of a more analytical sound. This means that the best of both worlds, warm and analytical, exists within this audio player. High-res with Android, a true technological feat, with audio chips customized by the brand itself, with an impressive design and appropriate audio. Epic. But you'll see, or rather you'll hear, this audio in the audio section later in this video, where I'll also give you a gift, as is customary in my videos about audio. But now you can see the unboxing of the new iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra. This high-quality case is much like the one for the DX340, the top model, which will be compared later. And well, the cables too, as you can see, are of the highest quality, all metal, very thick, also with protectors. As you can see on the USB-A, braided cables, balanced outputs. You can even see the USB-C to USB-A one. Everything is absolutely luxurious, just like the price of this DX270. Because without a doubt, it's one of the high-res audio players that's getting the most attention lately. And now, here it is in all its glory, in what is probably the first review in Spanish of this iBasso DX270 R2R. Basso DX270 R2R Ultra. Depending on how the sunlight hits it, or what the weather is like, specifically if it's cloudy, or if it's under direct sunlight or artificial light, the back will take on a different color. Not only that, but if you look closely, it has a kind of a pattern that sometimes looks like parallel lines, a sort of net, like a spider web. You'll see it's an amazing design, and I wish big companies like Apple and Samsung would do this too. Would make phones as beautiful as this high-res audio player. It weighs 265 grams, and also, as you can see in this corner, this is what stands out the most. In fact, it looks a lot like the DX260, which I also reviewed on this channel. The sound is quite different, but the design is very similar. You can already see, by the way, the frames also change color and reflection, depending on how the light hits them. And they're designed not only to look nice, but also to achieve better ergonomics. In the hand, it's quite thick, about 19 millimeters, but thanks to those edges, it feels much better and more comfortable to hold. Aluminum frames, by the way, glass on the front and back, but the back gets smudged very easily. And now, let's move on to the ports. A balanced 4.4 line out, another standard balanced 4.4 out, and a 3.5 out. And thanks to the adapter you saw at the beginning, in the unboxing, you can connect a plug to a power source, and it will get a power of more than 1,000 kWh, 500 milliwatts, which is a lot for this size and weight. 3 customizable buttons for skipping forward, backward, pause, etc. And here is the wheel. You can see all the metallic structure it has. I love it. It's clickable and you can turn it. Its appearance also reminds me of a mushroom, and I can take these microscopic shots, as you can see. Also, when you press it and when you turn it, it feels really good. It feels sturdy. It's quite precise, maybe not at the level of the DX340, but for this price, it's probably one of the best scroll wheels I've tried on a player in the 10 years I've been making videos on this channel. Also, the back part can be removed with a screwdriver, and you can change the battery. Let's say it's accessible. You don't usually see this in tech devices these days, and I like that iBasso has implemented it. More ports, SPDIF, USB-C, and micro SD with up to 2 terabytes of capacity, and without a flap, so it's easier and more accessible to remove and insert. Something else I like is that iBasso always includes a myriad of screen protectors in its extensive packaging, including tempered glass screen protectors, and even has one already applied to the screen itself, which is really appreciated at this price. But take a look at this comparison. DX340, the top of the line from iBasso, you can find the full review on this channel, and the DX270 R2R Ultra, the player everyone is talking about. Here you have them side by side. What I like the most is how lightweight it is, and that the DX270 feels much more portable. Suppose the top model on the left is portable, but the one on the right, which I'm reviewing today, is even more portable. You can carry it in your pocket and barely notice its weight. I guess it has to do with one being made of steel and the other of aluminum. I also like that the DX270 doesn't have a flap on the port where you connect the power. That said, the AMOLED screen on the top of the line DX340 is absolutely insane. In fact, it's the first and only Hi-Re's audio player with an OLED screen. And that doesn't mean, mind you, that this screen, the one on the DX270 R2R Ultra, is bad at all. Full HD, 5.5 inches, and it's also made by Sharp. In this sense, it's IPS, not OLED. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same screen as the DX260. Like all players, manual brightness, it doesn't have a light sensor, and customization is pretty basic. However, if you enable gesture navigation, which I don't recommend, you'll find it like this, with the sensitivity set to minimum. I recommend setting the sensitivity higher if you're going to use gestures, because especially when it's in the case, it's hard to go back by swiping from the edge. Even so, I hope they fix the gesture issue in future updates. For me, it's one of the negative points. I recommend using classic Android buttons instead of gesture navigation. But as you can see, this 5.5-inch screen doesn't have the best reflections or the best viewing angles, but you can see that it's pretty good for an IPS panel. Sharp is a good screen manufacturer, and they've proven it here. Even so, you already know this device isn't designed for multimedia consumption because of its screen. By the way, here I'm going to show you a comparison so you can see its size and proportions compared to a regular smartphone, in this case, an iPhone 17 Pro Max. As you can see, it's smaller but definitely thicker. I've been testing it for a few weeks now, and what stands out to me the most is knowing that it's extremely powerful without being too heavy or too big. In fact, I think that in terms of its proportions, it's the best audio device I've tried so far. You'll see the price soon. I think it matches the quality. Now let's discuss the hardware and stock Android 13. You already know that this type of device doesn't need to be updated to the latest version of Android. Let's say that's not its purpose. 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal UFS 2.1 storage. In addition, it can be expanded with a micro SD card up to 2 terabytes, and it would include the Snapdragon 665 processor. Something that has changed compared to the TX260, the previous version, is that the USB is faster, it's USB-C 3.1, it also features Bluetooth 5.0, and a 4,400 milliamp hour battery. It can give you a little more than 13 hours of music. Of course, if you use the balanced output a little, also, since it's stock Android software, it has a 4,400 milliamp battery, which is quite a lot. The 4,400 milliamp battery can give you more than 13 hours if you use it for music. But obviously, it's not like you buy a glass for $270, and the 4,400 milliamps allow you to watch a video that stays on the device. The device has a battery that stays in the device. The device lets you keep audio or video on it without needing to stream, so it stays on the device. And here you can see it has some settings that other devices don't have, for example, which is amazing. From the brand, from its customization, you've seen it on this channel. Here you have all the iBasso devices reviewed with their unique video. If you hold down the power button, you can boot into Android or boot into Mango. This is the closed system to listen only to the music you have on the micro SD. For example, this will also make your battery last a bit longer. But aside from the dual boot, here you can see the software of its Mango operating system. It has a very powerful equalizer, but in my opinion, it's not very intuitive. Hopefully they can improve it in future updates. I also recommend setting the dark mode in its software, in its interface, because honestly, it looks much better. But hey, what have I tested this amazing audio player with? Well, it couldn't have been with any other headphones. The best ones I've tried on this channel, the Macy Elite, some stratospheric headphones that honestly pair really well with this iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra. And now let's move on to the audio section. How does this iBasso player sound? I've already tried another player with R2R technology here. It was the FiiO M33, and as I told you, it was very warm, very colored. Honestly, the music felt very intimate. At this point, iBasso, thanks to a patented technology. In fact, you have all the technical details in the link I'm going to leave below in the video description. But you already know that this channel isn't very technical, since I like to share what you really feel when listening to music with this kind of device. Well, what this iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra does is add to the warmth of the FiiO M33, the most criticized aspect of this technology. That is an extra touch of neutrality, a more analytical character, more analytical sounding music. Therefore, it's detailed, it's intimate, it sounds warm, but without sacrificing any detail, with very well-defined layers. Everything is in its place. The music doesn't feel rigid. In other words, it's quite expansive. You notice how it rises from below, and honestly, the bass goes pretty deep and expands through all the layers without mixing together. The mids sound the way R2R technology does best, meaning they're very warm. Still, the highs keep their structure perfectly intact. There's no fatigue at all, and honestly, at this point, the highs are handled surprisingly well. It might be a step behind the DX340, but without a doubt, it's 1 or 2 steps ahead of the FiiO M33. Thanks to this 8-channel structure that the iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra has, it's also capable of delivering more than 1,500 milliwatts of power. In short, the best of both worlds is indeed possible, and iBasso has just proven it with this device. And by the way, I'll leave you the track I've enjoyed most with this iBasso DX270 as a gift on my Telegram channel, in the highest quality, uncompressed, in FLAC format for you, so you can download it and enjoy it with your best headphones. I'll leave the direct link to my Telegram below in the video description. And now let's get to the price of this iBasso DX270 R2R Ultra. How much does it cost? Well, as you can see, it's $1,149 or euros, depending on where you live. You can find it on SciY, and I'll leave the purchase link for you. Subscribe if you liked it. Personally, I really like the tone all of these have in this video, my friends. Don't forget to subscribe and consider starting a journey on my channel. And if you like this video, don't forget to consider starting a journey into the exciting world of high-quality audio. Share it with the DX180, which is much more affordable and honestly surprised me in a good way. You can also find the video on the channel. But in conclusion, with this 270 R2R Ultra, I think iBasso is really betting big on what's inside this spectacular design. And it's all those chips and all the innovation iBasso has packed inside, all the customization of the audio chips. Subscribe to my channel. This innovation inside from iBasso, all the customization of the audio chips. If you like this kind of product, outstanding sound, and also a top-notch design. There are some flaws, as you've already seen, mainly with the software, but after all, that's what we have. Video. The player with, don't forget, smaller and more compact, and at the same time with the best sound. Keep in mind these weight and size features that I've mentioned on this channel. And I assure you I'm not exaggerating, obviously that comes at a price. But for those lovers of the best audio who know this world is quite expensive, they know that iBasso is synonymous with quality. I guess that's why they're having so much success in all the international reviews I've seen. Anyway, if you have any friends, and subscribe, and if you liked this, subscribe to my channel. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like and share it with your friends.
Comentarios, suscríbete si todavía no lo estás.
Don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, and share it, so I can keep making these kinds of unique analyses, combining the best music and audio with amazing landscapes and nature. And now, with this great music from Swan Lake, I say goodbye to you until the next video. Best regards and see you soon.